everybody, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, man, we are going to be reacting to a tweet that Dan Orlovsky put out about Matthew Stafford and some of the comment section. Let's get it started. Welcome in, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here, and yes, this one is going to be fun. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this video. I have not done a video like this in a while, so this may be just a part one, okay? Going off on some of these Matthew Stafford haters, but there's one guy that is not a Matthew Stafford hater, and that is Dan Orlovsky. So as you guys can see, I've been out all day. That is why this video is coming out a little bit later. This is the last day of the craziness. Okay, tomorrow I will be back, and then all of a sudden I'm going to be moving stuff, so it will be crazy again. But, okay, by the weekend, we should be good to go. Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there, but tomorrow should be a pretty normal day, hopefully. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, this week's just kind of a mess in general. But I do have a couple of interesting things to say in today's video. Now, I was looking out for news. I've been looking out for news. That way I keep you guys updated with everything that is going on. And I came across this tweet from Dan Orlovsky. Now, who is Dan Orlovsky? Dan Orlovsky is someone that represents the Detroit Lions on TV, okay? He's on all those sports talk shows that you maybe watch, okay? None of them are that good, but Dan Orlovsky is on a few of those, and he represents the Detroit Lions really, really well, way better than a lot of people do, because without him and Nate Burleson, there probably wouldn't be anybody talking about the Detroit Lions, because they were former Detroit Lions. Yes, I will admit, Dan Orlovsky probably has a little bit of bias towards the Detroit Lions. I think he's a Detroit Lions fan, okay? I think we all get that. The Lions gave him a chance. He was our backup quarterback for a while. He sat behind Matthew Stafford. So I think he has a little bit of bias towards maybe Matthew Stafford and Detroit Lions. I will deny that. I will not deny that. However, he is an NFL quarterback that has experience, and he sat behind Matthew Stafford in the years that weren't his best years. He wasn't with Matthew Stafford last season when Matthew Stafford was on an absolute tear, but he did have something to say about Matthew Stafford's last season. So, as we know, Stafford played in 8 games for the Detroit Lions. All of a sudden, he went down with an injury, and it was super unfortunate because the Detroit Lions finished that season 0-8. They lost every game without Matthew Stafford to finish the season. I mean, if that doesn't tell you his worth, I don't know what does. But we know Matthew Stafford was on an MVP level. He was on an absolute tier. He was on another level. I have not seen Matthew Stafford this efficient, this effective, this great before. I really haven't. Matthew Stafford was at his best ever with the Detroit Lions. I mean, he literally was on fire last season, and unfortunately an injury had to pull him down. I mean, he was on pace for 5,000 passing yards. We know 5,000 is exclusive anyways. Matthew Stafford's only done it one time. He was on pace for that. He was on pace to lead the league in passing yards. He was on pace to lead the league in passing touchdowns. Matthew Stafford had his highest passer rating we've ever seen. He was the most effective, most efficient we've ever seen Matthew Stafford, and he didn't even have the most attempts. Stafford was playing at an absolutely high level. Unfortunately, the defense is really holding us back from having a way better record. Even some people that aren't so optimistic, Hungry Panda, he even says the Lions should have been 7-1 through the first 8 games because Matthew Stafford was playing at that level. Dan Orlovsky had something to say about Matthew Stafford's 2019 season in his first 8 games. Matthew Stafford was given some praise here by Dan Orlovsky. Here's what Dan Orlovsky had to say. Matthew Stafford was the best quarterback in the league. Go watch the games. In his first 8 games. In the games that he played last season, Matthew Stafford was the best quarterback in the NFL. That is what Dan Orlovsky had to say about Matthew Stafford. Okay, now Dan, I agree with you. Yes, Dan, I agree with you. Now, I know some people are going to be like, well, no, he was actually the second best. He was the third best. Maybe you're saying he's the fourth best when he was healthy, okay, at the time. And that is okay. List him wherever you want. We all can agree he was a top quarterback in the league. He was a top quarterback in the league when he was healthy last season. I mean, do I really have to run through the numbers? You know what, let's do it because I like saying them. 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 2,499 passing yards, and a 106 rating. The best rating he's ever had, on pace for basically 5,000 passing yards, on pace to lead the league in touchdowns, and have a great touchdown to interception ratio. Yeah, those numbers are great. So just looking at the stats alone, you can see from that Matthew Stafford was one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league through that time. I mean, I've said it once and I'll say it again. This is exactly why I continue to say this, because he was. Matthew Stafford took his game to another level with Darrell Bevell. And if he can improve on that in 2020, I don't know what to tell you, defenses. I really don't. Matthew Stafford was scary good, playing at an MVP level last season, okay? He was great last season. But this kind of segues right into my point, and right what we're going to talk about today, and that is that quarterback wins are not a stat. So we're not going to stay on this one too much because we talked about it before, but we know here's where the Matthew Stafford haters can come out, because they can look at those numbers and say, oh, yeah, he was pretty good. Oh, but hold up, Matthew Stafford has no playoff wins, so he's not a good quarterback. Okay, that has nothing to do with what Dan Orlovsky had to say, okay? But, I mean, seriously, go back and watch last year. I mean, go against Patrick Mahomes. You would say, who would you take, Patrick Mahomes or Stafford last year? I'm taking Stafford. Matthew Stafford outplayed Patrick Mahomes in last year's game. Oh, but the Lions lost. Well, there you go. It is a team sport. It's a team sport. Lions had to get a stop. Matthew Stafford had their team up. Did they get a stop? Nope. Can Stafford play defense? Nope. See, the thing is, the NFL, football in general, is the ultimate team sport. It's a team sport. A lot of sports are team sports, okay? Basketball's a team sport. There's only 5 players. The thing with football is that there's 22, offense and defense, not even including special teams. You have that many players, and Matthew Stafford is just one of those guys. He's just one. He's just one of those players. All right, that's less than 5% of the team is the quarterback. That's all Matthew Stafford is. Lions not winning the game can't necessarily put against Matthew Stafford if he played extremely well in the game. So that kind of transitions right into the first tweet that we are going to responding to. Now, I've seen a couple of interesting ones. We only have 2 of them to react to in today's video, but I think you guys will be pretty entertained by this one, man. And I just see this stuff. Like, I'm looking for news and I come across this stuff and I'm just like, oh my gosh, bro, I gotta go off on this. I can't hold back. I can't hold back. You woke up the beast. So let's hop into it. So the first thing we saw was, I guess, about Cam Newton. I guess this is a Cam Newton fan. I mean, it looks like he's definitely a Cam Newton fan. And I was actually talking to T. And me and T were talking about it and saying, well, you know, if you look specifically just at stats, which is what the quarterback does, and I know some people are going to be saying, well, Matthew Stafford's stats are all garbage time because they're always losing, and that's why he has all these comebacks. We've already debunked that's not true. We've already debunked, actually, that's not true at all, that Matthew Stafford's stats are all garbage time. So don't even try to say that, all right? Just don't try, because it's not a good argument, because it's already been proven false. If you guys want a video on that, shout out to Logan. He already told us about that. So let's keep in mind, though, if you're looking at Matthew Stafford's stats, he's arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time because he has some of the best stats we've ever seen at the quarterback position. I mean, that's what he does in any sport. If you're looking at an NBA player, the dude averages 35 a game. You're going to say, well, that's one of the best I've ever seen. Yes, because he's doing his job. He's scoring 35 points per game, and he's efficient. That's what Matthew Stafford has done. Matthew Stafford, through his first, 12, 11 years in the league. Okay, Matt Stafford up to this point has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league statistically. He just has been. But it's the wins. It's the wins that people always try to put it against him. So, let's react to this Cam Newton fan. He basically had to say this, and let me just say, man, this is not how you want to go about things. This is just not the way to do it. But here's what he had to say. He basically said Matthew Stafford is overrated. All of a sudden, I'm looking at this, I'm saying, oh gosh, this is how we're popping this off. Okay, I know what kind of guy we are reacting to today. He said he doesn't elevate the players around him. He doesn't make his teammates better. That is a tough sell. That is a very tough sell. But we'll get into that in a second. That's what he said. He said he's had better weapons and he's had elite defenses. But Cam Newton is the guy that gets all the slander and not Matthew Stafford, so Stafford is overrated. Oh yeah, and he's the number 1 pick in the draft that doesn't have a playoff for him. So that's what he had to say about Cam Newton. Now the thing is, bud, here's what we do here. I've never once compared Cam Newton to Matthew Stafford. One reason is they're completely different. I don't think Cam Newton's a bad quarterback. I think he's maybe a tad above average. I think we kind of saw that this offseason. Right now, everybody's throwing money to go get him. He's had some injury concerns. I think he's about an average quarterback in this league. He's not super accurate. He's dynamic though. He's a guy that can run and throw. So I think he's a solid quarterback, and I think he could have the best season that we've ever seen statistically, at least since 2015. Next season with the Patriots, and I think the Patriots will be a playoff team. So I think he's a slightly above average quarterback. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. But the thing is, we don't compare Stafford to Cam Newton because it just doesn't make sense. Not only do these guys not play similar to each other, Matthew Stafford is on another level. Like, I never once thought to compare these players because, one, I don't compare players that can play completely different, right? If he's a running guy, Stafford's not a running quarterback. Obviously, there's a big difference there. But in terms of arm talent, throwing the football, that kind of thing, they're not even on the same level. I mean, let's be honest here, they're not on the same level. We can dive into stats if you want to, but the stats are not on your side, my guy. They're just not. So let's hop into it, man. Let's see what you had to say, all right? So let's take a look on the first reason why we don't compare these two guys. Well, Matthew Stafford is on another level in terms of passing. See, Cam Newton's had one season over 4,000 passing yards. Matthew Stafford had 7 straight, and last year he would have had another 4,000-yard passing season. So that's one big reason. You want to look at career? Well, let's look at efficiency. Matthew Stafford has a higher passer rating over his career, all right, his average over his career. Cam Newton's had one season with over 25 passing touchdowns. Matthew Stafford has done that multiple times, and could have done it last season if he played really 2 more games. I mean, Matthew Stafford almost did it last season in 8 games. All right, so there's still stats alone. Now, let's hop into what you had to say. So you said Matthew Stafford's had better weapons and elite defenses. All right. Matthew Stafford has had one good defense, one elite defense, I would say. I would say he's had some average ones, maybe. But he's had one elite defense, and that came in 2014. All right, so you said he said elite defenses, implying multiple. Please show me the other elite defense. Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page. Now, let's look at Cam Newton. Let's look at the best 3 years Cam Newton has had in terms of record, because it's all about wins. Obviously, it's all about wins at the end of the day. But for a quarterback, that's not how you judge a quarterback and how good he is, simply just by wins. Because let's look at the best 3 seasons Cam Newton's had, okay, like this. This is how the record has been in Carolina. 2013, he completed 61.7, I believe it was, percent of his passes. He had a 24-13 touchdown interception ratio on 473 passing attempts. That'll be important. He also had the second best defense in terms of points allowed and the second best defense in terms of yards allowed. Well, that defense is pretty elite to me. Okay, so, I mean, that kind of matches Matthew Stafford's one elite defense that we had. 24-13 touchdown interception ratio is not good. That's not even 2-1. That's not good. And 473 passing attempts. Well, let's look at Matthew Stafford's first playoff season, shall we? Stafford had 663 passing attempts. About 200 more. Yeah, that's pretty similar. How about 2015? All right, this was the big year for the Carolina Panthers. He won the MVP, I believe, this year. He completed 59.8% of his passes. 59.8. We know he's not super accurate. That is not very good. Now, touchdown interception ratio was very good. 35-10. That's very good. That's really good, actually. And 495 passing attempts. They also had the 6th best defense in terms of scoring and 6th best defense in terms of yards. All I did here was simply look at his best season and see what the defense was ranked. That's all I did. I didn't look at them all. I mean, they could have had better defense I'm missing, but I'm just looking at the best ones. Okay, so that's a really good defense. Again, basically an elite defense. Your completion percentage was not very good. Your touchdown interception ratio is good. You have 495 passing attempts. Matthew Stafford 2014, in that elite defense here, threw it 602 times. The thing is, Matthew Stafford is carrying a lot with his arm, carrying a lot of the team. And then in 2017, all right, last time Carolina was really good, 59.1% completion percentage. That's not good. Any way you want to twist it, that's not good. 22-16 touchdown interception ratio. That's not good. Not at all. And 492 passing attempts. Again, 100 less than Matthew Stafford in 2016, his playoff year. 100 less. And they were ranked 11th defensively in points allowed and 7th in terms of yards allowed. There's a reason we don't compare Cam Newton to Matthew Stafford. You know, who's giving Cam Newton all this slander? All right, I think you're just picking out random things. But if we're being honest here, they're not the same. Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback. He's a better quarterback. Now, Cam Newton has the ability to run and things like that. But the thing is, Matthew Stafford, even coming off an injury, if he was available, there would have not been a time that we're waiting for him to sign. This dude would have been getting offers from so many teams because Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback. So that's why we don't compare these two guys. And then you bring up the elite defenses. That doesn't make any sense. Okay? And you bring up, all right, well, he doesn't elevate his players. That is why Matthew Stafford has been better since Kelvin has left. He doesn't elevate his players, though. Okay, I don't know. But before we get too much into that, I got to get into the next one because it kind of segues really nice. Shout out to 313 JMO, though, for backing up, having the back of our quarterback. This is the second Twitter comment I saw, and let me just say, man, I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. This one honestly didn't make any sense to me, but some people like this, and I don't know why you would like this comment. How can you read this comment like this? You clearly have no football knowledge if you say something like this. All right, this was his argument against Matthew Stafford. Okay, so Dan Orlovsky says Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback league in the first 8 games. He's talking about last season. That's it. This guy hops off with this. And why did Kelvin quit? That has nothing to do with what Dan Orlovsky said. Literally nothing at all. Nothing at all. Dan Orlovsky is talking specifically about 8 games last season. This guy says, why did Kelvin quit? Okay, that is years ago. One of the greatest quarterback wide receivers of all time. Some people could say the best. I will say, I get it. Calvin Johnson is the best receiver Matthew Stafford's ever had, and it's one of the best of all time. Some years, and I say for a pretty good amount of years, he was the best player on the team. But this makes no sense. Because 1, the reason he retired because of injuries, and 2, Matthew Stafford has been better statistically without him. So what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden he hits with this, and once you read this, you know why this guy literally has no idea what he's talking about. Like, this guy should not be allowed to comment anymore. He says this. Why is Eric Ebron bad-mouthing him then? What are you talking about? Is this guy looking at the same post? I don't know what he's talking about. What in the world does Eric Ebron have to do with Matthew Stafford? All right, Eric Ebron was a mess in Detroit. We all know that. We know it was an absolute mess. Who is he bad-mouthing? He bad-mouthed the whole team. All right, Eric Ebron has been going back and forth with Detroit Lions. I have no idea why. I guess he's bored, but it doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? What does Eric Ebron bad-mouthing the Detroit Lions team have anything to do with how great Matthew Stafford was in his first 8 games last year? Some people, man, what are you going for with this? I had to share these with you guys. I thought you guys would be entertained by these because I think they're absolutely hilarious. Like, man, we got to have Matthew Stafford's back because some people always be trying to put it down. And Dan Orlovsky, even if you want to say Matthew Stafford wasn't the best quarterback through his first 8 games, I'm okay with that. You know, I think that's a fair thing to say. But we have to understand, Matthew Stafford was one of the best in the league when he was healthy. Literally lost every game without him. Does that not show his worth? You went 0-8 without this guy. All right, and his numbers speak for themselves. I mean, I don't know how you could say that he wasn't. How can you literally say this wasn't a top quarterback, even if you're not saying the best? And I think, you know what? I think you can make a standard case that he was the best at the time. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, man. This stuff is absolutely crazy. We will be back to the new normal soon. Exactly when that will be, because this week as a whole is kind of going to be a mess. But we will be back to normal soon. But I do appreciate you guys for sticking around for this time and sticking through it, man. I apologize for the different types of videos. Maybe they're not edited as much. Trust me, that stuff will be coming back when I get more time. It's just right now when I'm in and out. Don't really have all the much time to do it. So I'm just trying to give you guys news that I can for now. And then when we get back, I have some cool videos planned. I don't want to say them yet. Some really cool video ideas planned. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.